Hi there, I am Julie Hershberg. I am a neurologic physical therapist from Re+active Physical Therapy and Wellness in the Los Angeles area. And I'm here to just take you for a really brief 5-minute stretch and move break. This is perfect when you're in the midst of working or watching a seminar, anything like that. Something to get every part of your body moving out of a typical posture that you're in at the computer. So we're going to start with just a little bit of a warm up, and I'm going to show you things both in sitting and standing. If you're able to, and it's safe, stand up for these because you probably have been sitting and watching and working. So stand up if you can. If not, I'll show you in sitting. So the first thing is a movement that activates your back and the muscles of your posture away from kind of a computer posture. So we call this a power up. And what you do is just bring your body open like this. So head back, shoulders back, arms rotated back and opening up. And we're gonna do that from sitting to standing. So you'll start in sitting, and you're gonna come forward with your arms and your body, and come up, and that's 1, and back down, and come up, and that's 2. Now, if you're not able to stand, you're just gonna do this in sitting. So instead of coming up, you're gonna go right here, that's 3, and then you can come back, and that's 4, and back down, and 5. That's a quick little way to get all of the muscles working, the legs, the trunk, the arms, if you've been sitting for a while. So that's our power up with a sit to stand. We did 5 of those. Let's get the rest of our body moving too. So if you're in standing, you're gonna start doing this in standing, a shift side to side. If you're in sitting, you're gonna shift and actually take that weight off of the hip if you're able. So we're activating parts of the trunk, we're activating the hip. So shifting side to side, we're gonna do this for a count of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very nice. So now we're all warm around the middle, warmed up. Let's do a couple of stretches. I'll show them in sitting and standing. Let's start with the hamstrings that can get kind of tight when we're sitting like this. And you're going to put your leg right out in front of you. Let your toes go down instead of pulling them up towards you. That takes a little tension off of the nerves. Scoot to the edge if you're able to, and then you're going to lean forward with your chest. And if I show you from the side here, that leg's out in front, lean forward with your chest as opposed to rounded like this. So you might not go very far. My hamstrings are pretty tight. So we're gonna hold this, and I like to move a little bit with the stretch. So I bring one arm and the other arm. I'll show you from the front again. One arm and the other arm. So it's a little dynamic stretch. I like dynamic stretching a little bit better. I can tolerate it better for my tight hamstrings. Now let's switch sides. So if you're sitting, you'll do this here. If you're standing, you can actually do this in standing and do that lean forward and reaching in standing. So hamstring stretch. Again, ensure that you're here versus here. Okay, so you're reaching with your chest forward. And that's our right side hamstring stretch. Let's get the front of the hip as well. I'll show you in sitting. So here, we're gonna get the stretch across the front of the thigh. If it's available to you, you can go all the way down to the floor. Okay, and we'll hold that position. If it's not, you can do that in your chair as well. Just let that hip come to the side. Stretch out the front of your thigh. Great, and let's switch to the other side. So let that knee hang down, let gravity do the stretch for you. If you don't feel much of a stretch, you can gently push your pelvis forward to lengthen across the quad and the hip flexor here. but those are other ones that tend to get tight with a lot of sitting, as I've noticed in myself with a lot of work on the computer. So we've got hamstring and hip flexor. Now let's do a few little activation exercises. Let's start with the pelvic tilt. So some of our abdominals here, we're gonna get a nice arch in our back, and then we're gonna contract up here through the abdominals and pelvic floor and round it back. So that's one. This is our pelvic tilt. An arch and round. Two, arch, and then use those abdominals, round. Three, arch. You can also do this in sitting, or in standing, sorry. Four, and one more. Five, really round out that back, activate the abdominal muscles. That's our pelvic tilt. Let's do a little cat-cow here. This is nice for breath, and the diaphragm, so important as well. You can do this in sitting. I'll show it in standing as well. I'm putting my hands on my desk right here in front of me. You could also do it, I have a chair over here on the back of a chair, and I'll show you from the side. When we go into a cow, we get that arch, and we breathe in. When we go into a cat, we round it out and breathe out. So we've got cow, and then our cat. That's two. And again, here's our cow, cat, breathe in. This is four, and breathe out, and breathe in, and breathe out. That's great. Okay, let's do one more for our shoulders, and we're gonna open up the chest, rotate outward, just like this. You can do it in standing as well. So rotating outward, activate the rotator cuff muscles, shoulders, back, chest up. Here's 3, 4, and 5. There you have it. There's a great little warm-up that you can do in between things where you're sitting at your computer, and a great way to activate your whole body. Thanks for joining me.